always talking. As soon as I'm finished with these shows, that'll be my new job. I gotta tell you a quick joke. There's always a year who's watching MSNBC with Chris Matthews, and he was screaming about this execution in Central Park, and he said, Chris, you need a rest. You didn't hear about this? No, I heard something else about it. Oh, they're going off the rails, MSNBC, but anyway, I'm gonna have to understand. They were just pressure cooker. They're crazy. They're just, you know, I mean, what is this? Bernie is, he's got grand tasks. He's been in the Senate, Congress, he's mayor of Burlington. He works across the aisle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anyway, because you didn't hear about what Chris Matthews said, I will tell you my joke because I'd have to, I ruined the joke because I'd have to tell you back. But anyway, I'm writing a song with Bernie, so next time, give me my card next time. You know me, next time you see me, I'll be playing my Bernie song. Okay. That's great.
What's great about being our age, I can put the pictures of Bernie was young, demonstrating everything. I told you it was.
Yes, there he is. He was there.
You ready for a second set?
All right. Yes, I am. I move along.
Okay, folks.
Okay. Testing.
Daisy's ready.
Hey, welcome back. Okay, so we're gonna do some originals and some old favorites. I'll start with a song that I wrote fairly recently about 3 young women who we can all admire. October 9th, 2012, Swat Valley, Pakistan. Malala dared to go to school despite the Taliban. They tried to kill her for they feared this educated girl. They only served to spread her message all around the world. On her 16th birthday, she spoke at the UN of justice and equality for women and for men. She said every child deserves the chance to learn and to be free. If we want to build a better world, education is the key. Fearless girl, staring down a raging bull, you're an inspiration to us all. What can I do to follow you? Fearless girl, Parkland, Florida, Valentine's Day. In 6 minutes, 20 seconds, 17 lives were blown away. Emma vowed no other school should face this tragedy. We're marching for our lives on Washington, D.C. Emma told the millions we call BS today. On the politicians, on the NRA, on those who think that gun laws won't prevent gun violence. Then for 6 minutes, 20 seconds, Emma stood in silence. Fearless girl, staring down a raging bull, you're an inspiration to us all. What can I do to follow you? Fearless girl, Greta couldn't eat or sleep, she was so distressed. The climate crisis left her feeling hopeless and depressed. She stood outside of Parliament with a sign that read "School Strike." At first she stood alone, then thousands more joined in the fight. She sailed across the ocean in a carbon-neutral yacht. She stood at the UN and put those leaders on the spot. How dare you, scolded Greta, leave me and my peers with this human-caused disaster that you ignored for years. Fearless girl, staring down a raging bull, you're an inspiration to us all. What can I do to follow you? Fearless girls, staring down a raging bull, you're an inspiration to us all. What can we do to follow you? Fearless girls. Recently I came across a picture of Malala with Greta together.
Oh, I saw that.
And I also learned that Greta learned her tactic from Emma Gonzalez and what she said, and the whole Parkland students movement. Good. So we all inspire each other.
I'm going to follow Pat's beautiful new song with a very, I won't say very, but a quite old song about a fearless girl, woman. And it was written in the 1930s about a radical union organizer. When I say radical, I mean, she's getting to the root of problems, and this song is called Union Made. Oh, yes. And some of you might know it. There once was a union made, never was afraid of the goons and the kings and the company things and the deputy sheriff who made the raid. Went to the union hall when a meeting it was called, and when the company boys came around, she always stood her ground. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. Well, this union maid was wise to the tricks of the company spies. She couldn't be fooled by the company's food. She always organized the lies. She always got her way when she struck for higher pay. She'd show her card to the company guard, and this is what she'd say. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. Well, a few years ago, Pete Seeger put this song in one of his songbooks. I think it was called Carried On, and he published the following verse, which I call a feminist verse. And Pete just wrote anonymous, so we don't know who wrote it. Well, you women who want to be free, take a tip from me. Drink out of that mold you've all been sold. You've gotta fight in herstory. Fight for women's rights. With the workers must unite. Like Mother Jones, we stir them bones to the front of every fight. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die.
To a song called Red Wig.
Exactly, yes.
And when first I heard Red Wig, I thought it was a parody of Union.
You thought it was what?
I thought it was the parody.
No, it's in a sneaker, didn't you know that?
Actually, when Woody wrote that, he had that one
there was a quote-unquote feminist verse that had something about joining the ladies'
Yes,
auxiliary.
I think Pete.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
Pete changed that to,
Right.
I can't remember the exact words, but it was,
You mean the ones that
Yeah.
Char just sent?
Yeah, I still,
Oh, you wanna do the,
I
okay.
would like to think Pete wrote that, but he put anonymous in the book, so I have that book. And it's good. Anyway, maybe someone will solve that mystery someday. You know, sometimes you go to concerts
Steve
and people.
Suffet would know.
Yes, I was just gonna say, Steve would, he probably would.
And you would give us a 1-hour dissertation.
Yeah, he probably would do that. I'd like to do a song I wrote, inspired by Woody Guthrie, and it actually was written after the crash of 2008, and actually released right around the time of Occupy Wall Street. And Woody Guthrie came, as many of you know, he came of age as a human being and as an artist during the Great Depression, and many of his songs are legendary, chronicling the suffering of people through that era. And so I was asked by Steve, actually, to perform 3 songs for the centennial of Woody Guthrie's birth. And around 2010, and I came up with this song. It's called What Would Woody Write? Woody Guthrie spoke plain about deportees and Dust Bowl days, families forced from the land. Told the story of Montagne on borrowed time at the edge of the road, with no time left to lose. Singing for the unions and the working folks, exposing the greed of a system that broke. Woody told the truth. So what would Woody write? What would Woody write right now? These hard times. What would Woody write? What would Woody write right now? These hard times. Now it's time to speak plain about bailed out bankers having their way while families are forced to move. People sick and tired of being attacked are standing up ready to fight back with so much more to lose. But the boss is getting richer as we go broke. Oh, they're taking our jobs and our homes, but not our home. Say, Woody, has that much really changed? So help me out. So what would Woody write? What would Woody write right now? These hard times. What would Woody write? What would Woody write right now? These hard times. So here's to the mystic with the guitar strap, who hitched a ride on a railroad track and always paid his dues. Oh, he fought for the unions and the working folks, exposing the greed of a system that broke, and sometimes he broke the rules. But he brought us together like a gathering storm, raising our voices in protest and song. And Woody told the truth. What would Woody write? What would Woody write right now? These hard times. Oh, what would Woody write? What would Woody write right now? These hard times. Right now. In these hard times. Thank you for singing.
Another woman that has inspired me called herself Peace Pilgrim. I don't know if anybody's heard of her, but she,
Yes.
yes? Oh, good, okay. On January 1st, 1953, She put on a tunic that said Peace Pilgrim on the front and Walking Coast to Coast for Peace on the back. And from then on, called herself Peace Pilgrim. Did not admit to having had any other name, any place of birth, any family, or any home. And she just lived as people offered her food, she would take it, but she never asked. If people offered her a place to sleep, she would take it, but she would never ask. Would not take any money, but if someone offered, like if her sneakers were completely worn through and someone offered her another pair of sneakers, if her sneakers were really worn through, she would take the other pair. If not, she would say, oh, you know, I can still walk in these another few hundred miles. So, quite an amazing person. So when I heard about her, I wrote a song about her. Now, I used to stand at a peace vigil in Wappingers Falls, New York, which is about halfway between Poughkeepsie, where I lived, and Beacon, where Pete Seeger lived. And he would stand at that peace vigil too, and when we were finished vigiling every Saturday from 12 to 2, we would gather around the peace pole and sing. And so I sang this song for him. Pete really liked it, but he suggested that I write another verse. So I did write another verse, and when Pete passed away, I wrote yet another verse. So it's kind of a long song, so you'll learn the chorus by the time I'm done with it. And most of the words are Peace Pilgrim's own words. Not most, but a lot of them. And just one thing that people sometimes ask me, what did I mean when I say she shed her robe of clay? I meant she died. She referred to her body as her clay garment. And she said, when I die, I'm not going to die. I'm just going to shed my clay garment and pass on to a freer life. Which is what happened in July of 1981. After walking back and forth across the country 6 or 7 times, she was struck by a car when she was on her way to a, she was actually in a car, driving to a, driving to or riding with someone to a speaking engagement. And it was a head-on collision, and she and the driver were both killed instantly. I'm sure that was fine with her. So it was a tragedy for us, but she did pass on to a freer life, and her word is still being spread. And if you go to peacepilgrim.org, you'll see there's an organization called Friends of Peace Pilgrim, which is carrying on. And she was born, by the way, and raised in Egg Harbor City, New York, which is not far, New Jersey, thank you, New Jersey, not that far from here.
Right. Yeah, right, that's true.
So hopefully you'll pick up the chorus by the 4th or 5th iteration. Her name was Peace Pilgrim, her age was unknown. She carried no money and she had no home. She walked our land for 28 years to show us we can overcome our hatred and our fears. She said, I will walk until I'm given shelter. I will fast until I'm given bread. I will remain a wanderer until mankind has learned the way of peace. Her message was simple, it's all been said before. We cannot learn peace while we're waging war. Good will conquer evil, truth will conquer lies, love will conquer hatred, if only we will try. She said, I will walk until I'm given shelter. I will fast. I will fast until I'm given. I will remain a wanderer until mankind has learned the way of peace. She carried in her pockets everything she owned. Some nights she slept on pillows and some nights she slept on stones. One day out on the highway she shed her robe of clay, but the message that she carried still lives on in us today. learners. The place to begin is deep within yourself, and you can show the way to someone else. When enough of us have learned to live in harmony, the old ways will crumble and our love will set us free. She said, I will walk until I'm given shelter. I will fast until I'm given bread. I will remain a wanderer until mankind has learned the way of peace. As we stand here on this corner, in sun and rain and snow, we remember Peace Pilgrim and her words of long ago. Though her spirit flew to freedom in 1981, she is standing here among us as our prayers for peace are sung. She said, I will walk until I'm given shelter. I will fast until I'm given bread. I will remain a wanderer until mankind has learned the way of peace. As we gather here together to try and right the wrongs, we think of Pete Seeger and the power of his songs, his courage and his wisdom, his kind and humble grace. Now he's walking with Peace Pilgrim, leaving us to take his place. She said, I will walk until I'm given shelter. I will fast until I'm given bread. I will remain a wanderer until mankind has learned the way of peace. I will remain a wanderer until mankind has learned the way of peace.
Wow. Look at that. So, a few years ago, Pat and I met at People's Music Network, and we used to meet often at that women's song swap. There was a women's song swap every gathering, so they met twice a year, and I think I heard the song at one of those gatherings for the first time. And this song is by Bev Grant, and it's kind of like become an anthem. Matter of fact, we played a year ago up in the African Culture Site in Riverdale, Bronx, and the whole congregation, everyone from the congregation who attended our concert was singing. They knew the song, and we couldn't believe it. So after I asked one of the organizers, how could that be? And she said, oh, it's our hymnal. The song was in their hymnal. I'm like, wow, that was like, whoa. Anyway, here it is. And we had, actually I added a verse at the end. And the first verse talks about, you're not going to hear our stories in most history books you read. And doesn't that ring true? And so I just want to say, I'm so thankful that Pat and I got together to do these shows, and what a year this is so far, and what a year it's going to be. I believe it's a year of transformation and clear vision, 2020. So we're getting ready for something great to happen. Here we go. We have plowed, we have planted, gathered into bonds, done the same work as the men, with babies in our arms, We were there in the factories. We were there in the mills. We were there in the mines. And we went home to fix the meals. We were there on the picket lines. We raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just knowing we were there.
From the textile mills in Lawrence to the sweatshops in New York, from the fields in California where our children had to work, we fought to make a living. Bread and roses was our cry. Were we jailed and fever parties, our spirit never died.
We were there in the factories. We were there in the mills. We were there in the mines. And we went home to fix the meals. We were there on the picket lines. We raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just knowing we were there. We were Polish. We were Irish. African and Jew. Italian and Latina. Chinese and Russian too. Oh, they tried to use our differences to split us all apart. But the pain we felt together touched the bottom of our hearts. Help us out. We were there in the factories. We were there in the mills. We were there in the mines. And when we went home to fix the meals, we were there on the picket lines. We raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just knowing we were there.
We are teachers, we are doctors, we are cooks and engineers, letter carriers, songwriters, conductors and cashiers. We operate machinery, we fly the big airplanes, we help to build our unions, we got struggle in our veins.
We were there in the factories. We were there in the mills. We were there in the mines. And we went home to fix the meals. We were there on the picket lines. We raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just to know that we were there. We are leaders in Congress. We serve on the Supreme Court for justice and equality. We have always fought for Mother Earth in peril. Our struggles just begun. Failure is impossible when women rise as one. Everybody, we were there in the factories. We were there in the mills. We were there in the mines. And we went home to fix the meals. We were there on the picket lines. We raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just knowing we were there. It makes me proud just knowing we were there. It makes me proud just knowing we were there.
Thank you, everyone.
How are we doing on time?
Well, it's just 10 o'clock.
Oh.
If you want to stick around a little bit and ask
We have
questions.
nothing going.
If you want to do one more of yours, chorus, and then I'll end the circle. That be good?
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay.
This is a song that I wrote to all the people that inspire me, the singer-songwriters who have just gotten me to do what I'm doing and to feel the power of song, including Woody Guthrie, of course, and Sharleen Leahey, and Pete Seeger, and of course all the women that we have talked about and could talk about. And you'll help me with the chorus. It goes like this. Singer of songs, writer of rhymes, writer of wrongs, changer of times, you've found your place, you've planted a seed, right where your deepest love meets the world's greatest need. When you were a kid, you picked up a guitar. Don't know why you did, it's just who you are. You looked around, saw a lot that was wrong, so you set out to change the world with the power of song. Singer of songs, writer of rhymes, writer of rhymes, writer of wrongs, writer of wrongs, changer of times, changer of times, you found your place, you found your place, you planted a seed, you planted a seed, right where your deepest love meets the world's greatest need. Right where your deepest love meets the world's greatest need. That's the last time I'll do that for you. You blew into town 4 hours ago. Third stop on the tour, 5 more to go. You stood on the stage, opened your soul. If everyone lived that way, we could make the world whole. Singer of songs, singer of songs, writer of rhymes, writer of rhymes, writer of wrongs, writer of wrongs, changer, changer of times, you found your place, you planted a seed, right where? Right where your deepest love meets the world's greatest need. So thank you for this beautiful time, such moments of bliss, so hard to find, the songs that you sing, the stories you tell, it's what you were born to do, and you do it so well. Singer of songs, writer of rhymes, writer of wrongs, changer of times, you found your place, you planted a seed, right where your deepest love meets the world's greatest need. You found your place, you've planted a seed, right where your deepest love meets the world's greatest need.
So, before we take a few minutes for reflections, I just want to end with this incredible song by the great Harry Chapin. And not too long ago, I saw his brother, Tom, which you just saw him recently. He did a show dedicated to his brother at Clearwater, up in Croton, upstate. And I went up to him at the end, and I told him that my friend Diane plays often with me. We told him that we'd do the song, and he said, please keep singing this song, and he always ends with this song in honor of his brother. And if you know it, please join me. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown, moon rose through the night time, till daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round and round, all the years keep rolling by. Well, seems like I've been here before. I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that we'll all get together again. No straight lines make up my life, no, my roads have bends. There are no clear-cut beginnings, and so are no dead ends. All my life, all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown, moon rose through the night time, till the daybreak comes again. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round and round, oh, the years keep rolling by. I have found you 1,000 times, guess you've done the same. Then we lose each other, oh, it's just like a children's game. As I find you here again, thought runs through my mind. How love is like a circle. Let's go round one more time. One more time. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown, moon rose through the night time, till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, I can't tell you why. All the seasons sitting round and round, all the years keep rolling by. And the years are holding by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm so happy so many of you knew that song. It was so great. I mean, really
Oh, yeah.
depends, not always, and that doesn't always happen, especially in Jersey, sorry. Sorry, Jersey.
She lives in Jersey, but we like her anyway.
Yeah, right. Hold that against me, please. So, I wanna open it up,
Does anybody have anything to say, ask?
do you have any impressions or or
Or suggestions for
questions or-
improvement?
Yeah?
The great half was, the first half was great.
Good, good.
I mean, not to say anything bad about the second half. The first half was really, informative, and I knew a lot about it, but.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I've read Howard's End.
Uh-huh.
Great. Howard Zinn is a treasure, national treasure, in my view.
I'm thinking why Seneca Falls, and I'm realizing that's probably the only people that would rent them a hall.
That's good.
No, I'm
That's a good
serious.
idea. I never thought of it that way.
Well, but it was because a lot of the women, or some of the women who were instrumental in the movement lived in that area. It was
Right.
Katie
Oh.
Stanton,
Right.
who else?
Well,
offhand?
There was a woman named McClintock, and there were 5 women around that table, and,
Did they all live locally?
yeah, most of them did, and, but Lucretia was there, she did not live there, but she traveled there, and there were 2 other women, but the interesting thing is, the Erie Canal had something to do with it, because
Oh, right.
Seneca had become a hub because of the canal. And so there were, and improved transportation, and so, because, I often wondered that too, until someone at one of our events brought that out, that Erie Canal had a lot to do with it being chosen as the place to
I
have.
think that area was a fertile ground for a lot of exchange of a lot of different progressive ideas, not only women's suffrage, but abolition. John Brown lived up in upstate New York.
Elizabeth Cady Stanton's cousin was Garrett. What was his last name? I think Garrett Brown. He was a big, very well-known abolitionist. And Elizabeth Cady Stanton's husband was involved to the point where he took her to the abolition conference in London as on their honeymoon. So he was very active also. If you go to Seneca, the next town over is the home of Harriet Tubman. She settled in Auburn.
Oh.
Yeah, and you could actually visit her home, and where she's buried, which I did, and now I understand it's been totally renovated and expanded. And so I'll look forward to going back there. The whole area is just, there's so much to see up there. And you can visit the Elizabeth Cady Stanton home. And there are several museums there, including the Mary Baker Eddy Museum. They put that there also, and there's so much more being displayed, and I urge everyone here to try and get up there. It's really well worth your time. Very inspiring. So, just want to say, I would like to just show you the flag that Alice Paul sewed and displayed proudly on August 26, 1920. And there is a movie coming out called The Woman's Hour, and it's about the last state in the United States to ratify. I think they need 36 states.
Yeah,
Yep, and they,
38.
well, the last state was Tennessee, and the movie is called The Woman's Hour. It's based on a book that just was published last year, which I did read, and the book chronicles a very dramatic struggle in Tennessee, and it was
I just want to get something.
it was very tight. There was only it came down to one vote.
Jeez.
And there was one man, I believe his name was Harry Burns, and his mother, he was gonna vote no, and his mother contacted him in a telegram or a letter, and she said, do the right thing, my son, do the right thing, and he changed his vote, and then he went into hiding. Because there was so much animosity by the lobbyists who were very against women voting. Some of them were,
It was
involved with.
Tennessee.
God knows they can go in the restrooms.
Well, that was the funny thing, that when they argued about the ERA, they said, oh, we can't pass the ERA because there's gonna be unisex bathrooms. Well, guess what?
Guess what?
No ERA, but there's still unisex bathrooms. I'd just like to read this,
Oh,
talk
yes.
about the flag a little more, and
Yeah, well,
when we
each
get to some-
time another state ratified, Alice Paul sewed another star on the flag. And, by the way, did you tell anyone here about our experience at the Lucy Burns?
I
Museum?
mentioned it to a
Yeah.
couple of people, but I'm gonna talk about it now, cause
Oh,
I
good.
took a picture
Great.
there.
Oh, great, great.
So, yes, at our first gig this time around in Fredericksburg, Virginia, we were told that there is a museum called the Lucy Burns Museum, that it's in the DC area, and we decided to go visit it.
And
We
we went
visited this
today.
morning, and I took a picture there of some information about what Sharleen was talking about. It's called the deciding vote. In Tennessee's suffrage debate, those in favor showed support by wearing yellow roses, one of the movement's iconic colors. Those opposed wore red roses, including Representative Harry T. Byrne.
Harry T. Bird, yeah.
Yeah.
But when the vote on the amendment was called, Byrne flipped and declared aye. No one knew the young representative carried a letter from his mother in his pocket, asking him to be a, quote, good boy and vote for suffrage. Representative Banks Turner likewise cast a surprise aye, making Tennessee the final state needed for ratification. And Harry T. Burns said, I want to state that I changed my vote in favor of ratification, first because I believe in full suffrage as a right. Wow. Second, I believe we had a moral and legal right to ratify. Third, I knew that a mother's advice is always safest for a boy to follow, and my mother wanted me to vote for ratification.
Yeah.
That's good, that's good.
So yes, we saw that in the, but there are a lot of very interesting things in that museum that used to be a prison. And many, over years, 72 women were jailed in that prison, suffragists.
Including Dorothy Day.
Yes,
Oh.
yeah, interesting, and that, we didn't know that. And also a lot of other interesting people were jailed there, like G. Gordon Liddy.
Yeah.
And Norman Mailer
and
and
Noam
Noam Chomsky.
Chomsky. We learned a lot.
Oh, no, Chomsky,
Yeah,
yeah.
during the Vietnam War, they were jailed for
Protesting.
protesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Nixon was sweeping up huge amounts of protesters,
Oh,
and those
yeah.
three were jailed for a few days.
Wow.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds
But
familiar.
the women that were jailed, at this workhouse, how do you say the name?
Lorden?
Well,
Yeah, it was a Indian name.
Occoquan.
Occoquan?
Occoquan. Well, they were, force-fed, and, they were horrible
Oh,
conditions.
you wanna talk about this little piece of jewelry
Yes,
here?
this little piece of jewelry is a replica of the jailhouse door and chain that signified the suffering and sacrifice of so many of the women, including Alice Paul, in that jail. And she used to give that out to all the women who went to jail.
Well, Alice Paul didn't actually go to that jail.
No,
That's why
she
they
went to
didn't
jail
name it
in
after her.
DC,
Right.
but there were so many women that were being jailed in both locations, so she used to give this out to the women to just signify their sacrifice. And today, you just purchased that at the museum.
Right, right. I just bought this.
I actually purchased this at the Alice Paul Museum. Alice Paul is actually a Jersey girl. She grew up in Moorestown, New Jersey,
Oh, yeah.
and you can actually visit her home, which is a landmark as well. And that's where I learned a lot about her, because, let's face it, her name did not just, pop out at me growing up reading history books. I never knew who she was until I became an adult, and I did learn that she wrote the ERA. When the ERA was being lobbied for, that's when I heard the name Alice Paul for the first time. I believe that was in the 1970s. But the ERA is yet to pass, and Virginia just passed it. We were just in Virginia, and we're very proud of them for that, but we'll have to see where this goes, and it's still an uphill struggle. But
Could I just read
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to memorize this thing.
there's a song, right?
Yes,
Yeah, right.
again, the first night in Fredericksburg, a woman came up to me who had been working for the Equal Rights Amendment, way back. And, it must be here. So this is a song that they used to sing in those days, and she sang it for me. And it goes like this. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex.
Okay.
It's not that hard to memorize, I really have to do that.
Well, of this Fredericksburg was our first stop on this tour, and one woman said to me that night, that afternoon, what is the meaning of these three colors? And I could not remember. So today I asked that question to the director, to one of the assistants at the museum, and she explained it to me, refreshed my memory. Purple is for, it's signifying that we women are royalty. White is purity, and yellow is victory.
Okay.
Yes, and it was just it just brought out to me the incredible miracle, really, that we got the vote through all those many decades of struggle from 1848 till 1920. That was multi-generational, and that the women who began in 1848 all passed away and never got to vote. That's, to me, a very, very tragic story. But out of that tragedy came the new wave, the second wave, and Alice Paul was the leader. And also, do you want to say something about this beautiful flag you have here?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about the Pankhursts, you may know more, but this woman, Emmeline Pankhurst, actually I did see her home. I was in London, and I happened, all over London there's like plaques on all the homes, so every time I saw a plaque I stopped. I saw a place where Emmeline Pankhurst had lived, and I took a picture, and it's around somewhere. But anyway, the suffragists in England were more aggressive, let's say, in their fight, and they won the vote before women in America did. But
They inspired Alice. Alice was there studying, and she just got inspired and started following them.
and Lucy Burns, we found
And
out
Lucy
today.
Burns, who, yes, and the two of them learned their tactics from the Pankhursts, mother and daughter, in England. And then when the women at the museum told us today, but she was adamant that our movement here in America would not be violent. And that, I believe that was part of her Quaker heritage too, because in England they were throwing rocks.
Yes.
They were, doing really pretty outrageous things. And Alice was radical, and her and Lucy did very dramatic, conducted themselves in a very dramatic way, and were great organizers, but they never became violent or advocated violence.
Frances had her.
Some of the women went into the big museums in London and slashed paintings.
Oh, it was some
And,
stuff that was very bad. Yeah.
Yes, they threw rocks. One young woman raced out onto the course during a horse race at Ascot, and I think she was killed by one of the horses. And talk about force feeding. Women died.
Yeah.
From this, there was
Yeah.
force feeding was
Some very bad,
very
tragic
common,
things happened, yeah.
and the conditions were terrible,
Mhm.
and people died. And the Pankhursts were, bless their hearts, they were batshit crazy, these women.
Well, all I can say is that whatever Alice took from that experience, it led to the victory in 1920, and I'm very indebted to Alice. As a matter of fact, I met someone recently at one of the events I attended in New Jersey, about 3 years ago, after a concert I did in Lincroft, New Jersey, and one of the women from Now, it was sponsored by Now, and a lot of women were coming from all over. She wasn't even a New Jersey woman, but she traveled from another state. She had worked with Alice Paul and knew her, and she actually went to visit her in the nursing home, and I said, "You actually knew Alice Paul?" And I couldn't believe this, because I'd never met anyone who knew her. And I said, "What was she like? What did she talk about at the end?" And she said, towards the end of her life, to the very end, all she wanted to talk about was, what are you women doing? Where are you going to organize for the ERA? She didn't want to sit back and reminisce about the good old days. She says, what are we doing now? Tell me all about what you're doing now. And that was so cool. I love that. Yeah.
What exactly was the relationship between the Quakers? Was it informal, or was it just
No,
Like a
no.
historic?
Well,
Kind of
actually, Lucretia Mott was a Quaker, and Alice Paul was a Quaker, so that was a very interesting point you just kind of led me to, because here is that connection, there's that link. Many women were, some were Unitarians, some were atheists, I mean, they were all types of women. Interestingly enough, I'm sure there were some. You being from overseas, the story we tell is not the beginning really, but we start with this story from 1848 because it was a pivotal turning point in the organization that was formed after the convention. But that convention had its roots in London, England, and then we go fast forward decades later, and we're back in London, England, where Alice Paul she was just there to study. And here she gets pulled into this movement, and then comes back home and opens an office in Washington, D.C., and ends up being our leader. So, I mean, the English connection is very important there. And matter of fact, I read in a book I was just reading about Alice Paul and Woodrow Wilson, her nemesis, because he was president during this time. And he was totally against suffrage. He was out there saving the world for democracy and totally against suffrage. And the two New Jersey people, Woodrow Wilson was governor of New Jersey and Alice Paul was a resident of New Jersey, so that's also interesting. But in the book I just read by Tina Cassidy on Alice and President Wilson, interestingly, Mahatma Gandhi was living in London during the time the Pankhursts were activating, and they did a lot of civil disobedience that was peaceful. So they had all kinds of groups and tactics, and he took a lot of instruction from some of their tactics, and he said, I learned a lot from these women. He actually was quoted saying that before he went back to India and led his people to freedom from the British Empire. Wow. That to me is amazing.
That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah. This is just like a treasure trove of just keep learning more and more. All of us are learning together, and I think it's just really wonderful. Yes,
You know, the League of Women Voters dates back to 1920.
it does. It actually does. It was formed
This
right.
is all-
They're still going.
As soon as we
It's all
got the votes, it was like, okay, now we've got to educate the work. Alice said, now we have a huge amount of work ahead of us to educate women to, now if they have a vote, they have to be organized and educated about using the vote. And that's why the League was formed. And it's a great organization. I love the League. They're a wonderful group.
But all these movements came about as a result of the First World War and the devastation of that conflict. Certainly the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom.
Oh, right, with Jane Addams.
All of this,
Yeah.
all of this was a result of the war, really,
Well,
because the war was a great social changer. If you've read Vera Britton's books about life before and after the war, and the war had a great deal to do with it. The war also ushered in a period, however brief, when internationalism was a topic on the minds of many people.
The League of Nations.
Unfortunately, it didn't last.
Yeah.
But
Until the next war.
all of these movements were ultimately had their seeds in the war.
Well, because the women's suffrage movement started much earlier,
Right.
but,
the second wave.
but it finally
Yeah.
became, and it finally became successful, possibly as a result of, well, also, you know, just as in World War II, Rosie the Riveter, and, you know, the women kind of took care of things while the men were off at war, and
Right.
that happened during World War I also. And the women, you know, the men came home and said, okay, go back to the kitchen, ladies, and they said, I don't think so.
Native Americans became citizens in 1922, 23,
Oh my
as
God.
a thank you for their participation in the war. You're welcome.
But Alice Paul set up the office in Washington, D.C. and created the National Women's Party in 1913. And they had the most dramatic march on March 8th. 1913. We were looking at photos and video this morning, detailing that, and it would be 7 long years before, and then the war came, and they were called traitors because they would not stop advocating for suffrage, even though they were told, oh, just put everything down, put your banners down, and wait till after the war. Just like they were told that. And Alice said, we were told, our foremothers were told that in the 1800s when the Civil War was happening. Just, we'll get to you. Just be patient. And here we are, she said. It's now the 20th century. We're still waiting. She said, no, we are not going to stop. And so there was a lot of rage directed at the women because people said, you're traitors, you're not patriotic, you're criticizing our president in a time of war, but they would not stop.
Yeah, you talk about the fact of people have to make things dramatic and obvious, etc. You know, you got people like Kaepernick in the football thing, where people can't understand. Back in 1971, the Vietnam Veterans Against the War were on the Saturday before they started in April 19th, they had a press conference. And one of the press conference guys said, well, why are you doing this? Well, why are you making this big demonstration and everything? And they said, well, to get attention. And they said, well, why do you have to get attention? We'll give you coverage. And they said, well, 2 weeks ago, we called a press conference. And we had a general of the Army. We had the president of Gold Star Mothers. They're the mothers whose sons have died. We had the chaplain, who was the highest chaplain in the highest ranking chaplain in Vietnam, who had just come back. We had, all these Silver Star and whatever people, and 3 of you showed up. Now look at how many showed up. And so for the next, from Sunday through Friday, it was in every newspaper in the United States.
What did the veterans do?
They marched.
Okay. All right.
They marched.
Because
They marched, and then they went. That was John Kerry and everybody.
Was that when they threw the medals? That was the Winter Soldier.
That was on Friday.
That was the
We threw our medals on Friday.
Yes.
But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we did different things, and but it had to be that big so-called dramatic, because nobody would listen to you otherwise. And that's the same thing that's happened with the women. By the way, they had like 20 or something whatevers, and in Detroit, they listed all these war crimes and everything that they had seen or taken part of, and it went into the congressional record in April 1st.
Right.
Amongst those various things were like women aren't treated right in the military, and they list 2 or 3 things about the women being military, and they also listed that gays should be allowed in the military. That's 1971.
Wow, I did not know that. That's amazing.
But you have to get out there. People are asking you, why do you have to be so whatever? It's because they're just not going to listen to you if you're nice.
Does anybody know the song by Melvina Reynolds from the Civil Rights Movement? It isn't nice to block the doorway. It isn't nice to go to jail. There are nicer ways to do it, but the nice ways always fail. It isn't nice, it isn't nice. You told us once, you told us twice, but if that's freedom's price, we don't mind. No, no, no. Civil rights movement,
she was told by a folk singer out in California, well, you don't have a voice, so you'll never make it.
Yeah, a folk singer named Pete Seeger. He didn't think she would ever make it.
Oh, well, she's
At
surprised
first.
us all.
Yeah.
How about my friend over here, Yeah,
Well, one of the things that I get a lot, I had been in the military. I was a sergeant for 3 years, 8 months, 12 days. Not that I was counting. But they'll come up to me and they'll say, "Thank you so much for your service."
Yeah.
I said, if you really want to thank me, stop this fucking war. And you'd be surprised how shocked they are. I was.
We have a friend who has on his car, "If you wanna thank me for my service, work for peace." It's a Veterans for Peace bumper sticker.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's Fred Lewis,
Yeah.
our friend from People's Music Network.
Well, our host last night in McLean, Virginia was a friend of Richard's, who spent, and Richard as well. They spent many years in the Peace Corps, and so I looked him in the eye last night, our host Gary, and I said, "I'm going to say something that I've heard a lot of people say to veterans, but I'm going to say it to you, and I'm going to mean it from the bottom of my heart." And I said, "Thank you for your service." And he said, "Wow, nobody's ever said that to me before," and he really appreciated that.
Oh, they say it a lot to me.
But I mean, for peace.
You must have
you know,
a
people in
Lowe's
Peace
card.
Corps.
You must have a Lowe's card.
Lowe's
A Lowe's. Lowe's, you get a discount. And then they say, "Thank you for your service."
Oh, that works, by the way, for,
You get on the plane faster.
for Lowe's and also for, what's the name of that?
Home Depot?
They have a discount too. And there's free food on Veterans Day.
That was
No.
definitely worth all that service, wasn't it?
I know.
Well, thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you so much.
Thank you.